I'm going to make a journeyman. So first I'm going to make a cut list. And we're making the outer case parts. For the journeyman, that is this, that, and that. Both of them, both case outer parts. So I like to do a graphic representation. So I need a side, a top, a side, and the top. And I need them twice. The grain direction is very important in this regard. It runs on the drawing like this. So the width is 23 inches on both of these. On this side, it's going to be 10 3/4. That is 15 inches from there to there. I learned that from one of the other drawings. So from there to there is 13 1/2. I need another 10 3/4, another 13 1/2. And the same thing goes on this one. Now that's a graphic way to draw it. I could also just write out a cut list like this. I need 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that are 3/4 thick, and that 3/4 thick I get from the drawing right there, by 23 wide by 10 3/4. Remember, we go thickness, width, length, twirl. And I need 4 pieces that are 3/4 by 23 by 13 1/2. However this works for you is good. Our next step now is to go find some lumber. And lay it out. Okay, I've chosen my lumber both from the lumber room and from the shorts bin. You can do both. I've made sure that they're 23 wide, so I have 4 boards that are more than 23, which makes sense because I've got gaps that I have to deal with. This one is also more than 23 wide. I've then laid out where everything is going to go. So just like my paper, here's the 10 3/4. Now I want you to note on the end here that I've got some cracks in it. There's a crack, that's called a check. I don't want that in my pieces, so I'm going to cut that off. Look at those huge cracks. I'm going to cut that off too. I've got one in that board, I've got one in that board. I've also got some at the other end that I have to live with. And I'm going to cut those off. Okay, so here's my layout. I'm going to do 10 3/4 here. Remember, I need to leave 1/4 of an inch for my blade. Then I got a 13 1/2, a 13 3/4, a 10 3/4, another 13 1/2. So that will be one case. And then I'm starting with my next case. 10 3/4, 13 1/2, 10 3/4. That's all the room I have. So I'm going to use my shorts to get my other 13 1/2 piece. Now this is way too big to work with, so I'm going to rough cut it, and I can do it anywhere I want, but I think I'm going to do it right in between the cases. So right here, I'm going to rough cut them and separate that part and that part. In fact, so that I don't get them mixed up, numbers in. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing on this one. I'm gonna go 5, 6, 7, 8. And on this one, let's go 9, 10, 11, 12. Now remember, as you line this up, if possible, you want to go smiles and frowns, smile, frown, alternating grain patterns. If it doesn't work out that way, aesthetics trumps. Whatever looks good is better. But if you can do it, alternate the smiles and the frowns. Also, don't be choosing wood that is too thin. This comes from the short spin, and notice how it's already at 3/4 inch. That won't work. You're gonna have to glue these together and then plane it. So it needs to stay at a full 15/16 thick. Okay, I'm ready to rough cut. Everything's rough cut. So I've got this glue up, I've got that glue up, and I've got that glue up. And notice that I've put them in order. 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, wherever they come together, we need to joint it. This is an edge I've got to join. This is an edge I've got to join. This edge will be a table sawn edge so that it stays nice and parallel. This edge will be a table sawn edge so that it's parallel, and then I must joint it because it's joining next to this one, which is going to be jointed, table sawn, and then jointed. This one will be jointed and then table sawn. Same thing goes with these two. I'll joint, table saw, joint, table saw, joint, joint, table saw, joint, joint, table saw. Same thing will go with these. Joint, table saw, joint, table saw, joint, joint, table saw, joint, joint, table saw. And that's what I'm going to go do now. And I'm joining this edge, and I'm just going to take off as little as possible. Same thing, I'm taking off as little as possible. So probably 5 and 11/16 is what I'll set to. Hey, gentlemen, can I just pop in for a second? To remove that 5 3/8. This one gets jointed, then table sawed, and then jointed. I've got about 6 inches. Okay, now I've got to joint that edge.